Friday. Welcome inside Studio H here in LA with Michael Wilbon, Jalen Rose, Paul Pierce. My name is Michelle Beadle, and so anything happening in the league lately, you guys?
The league is on fire right now.
Dominating. This, I don't know if you can decide who the most interesting team of the last 24 hours would be. You could say the Knicks. You could maybe now say it's the Celtics. Plenty to say before those teams play at the bottom of the hour. And then we have Rockets, Nuggets late, but 29 minutes. Let's get this thing started. First up, before the world was done going bonkers over the Knicks trade of the unicorn, Porzingis to Dallas, impending Celtics free agent Kyrie Irving rattled the foundations of the league this morning. Some aggressive vagueness about his very own future.
I mean, well, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I feel is best for my career. And, you know, that's just where it stands. And my focus this season is winning the championship with the Boston Celtics. You know, obviously we had goals coming into the season, and the primary goal is to win championships. So that's where my focus is.
Has your mindset shifted, though, in regards to re-signing with Boston, like the announcement?
Ask me July 1st. Obviously, you know, things this season haven't gone as I planned. You know, and that's part of being on a team where you're still trying to figure things out. But at the end of the day, like I said, I spent the last 8 years trying to do what everybody else wanted me to do in terms of making my decisions and trying to validate through the media, through other personnel, managers, anybody in this business, and I don't owe anybody.
Woo, if that ain't a mantra. So there's a lot of drama, obviously, turned up to 11 by Kyrie. We have to welcome in the man, Woj. As far as the Celtics' reaction to just that little piece of sound, what do you have?
Listen, all of this has made people in that organization uneasy, and it's playing out in public now. But they've been talking with Kyrie Irving about, you know, this team has underachieved, and the organization's frustrated with it, and they know Kyrie Irving is frustrated with it. And, you know, the focus for the Celtics is to certainly, especially as far as Irving's future is concerned, is to get as much out of this season and this group as they can, you know, to get back on track as a contender in the East, make as deep of a run in the playoffs as they can, and then have a roster as deep and talented as possible come around draft time when they've got decisions to make in trades. And they know that more than any other player they've pursued in recent years, they really need to get Anthony Davis. And as much as anything, that will help solidify Kyrie Irving's future. Boston still feels confident, and Kyrie Irving has given them no direct reason in their conversations to think that he's going to leave. But Boston's not taking this for granted, and especially the way now Kyrie could have shut this down today, and he opened it all back up.
Yes, and for that we are grateful. Woj, don't go anywhere. I know we're going to come back to you for some Anthony Davis talk, but sticking with the Celtics and you guys up here, you're Danny Ainge, you're listening to this, you're watching the Anthony Davis stuff, you're watching everything happen. What do you do? I'm calling up Kyrie for a private conversation. Okay. And if I don't feel exactly the way I need to feel, I start making some other calls. I mean, I totally agree with Kyrie when he says he didn't owe anybody anything, but the Celtics don't owe him anything either. It's a two-way business. And everybody talks about it, they act like it's only on their side. And so it's just interesting when Kyrie talks about this. So now, first of all, it throws some leverage back toward the Lakers when you talk about the Pelicans trade. Yep. The Knicks feel hope, and God knows they don't feel hope very often, but they're hopeful now with a treasure chest and all these free agents out there. They think that's going to be different from 2010. They're going to get somebody. So it puts a lot of things in play that, as Woj said, would not have been in play depending on his answer. As we look at Paul. Mr. Celtic, what say you?
This is a chess game. I don't do anything but be patient and see what happens. Listen, they have a championship team. I know it's not playing out that way, but this team could easily go to the finals and possibly win it this year. Let's say that happens. Then what? Do you leave that situation? I'm standing pat with Kyrie. Let's see how we do in the playoffs at the end of the year, see where we're at. We have the assets. We have him. Anything can happen. That's what I'm doing right there.
But Danny's got to prepare.
I'm not making a move.
Right, Paul? Danny, you got to be ready.
You can't panic before the trade deadline. He says something. It's a chess game. No, we're going to stay patient, see how this plays out.
This team has underachieved. They made it to the conference finals without Kyrie Irving. They're a fifth seed with Kyrie Irving. And I've said this the entire season. The team and Brad Stevens had to decide. Are they going to turn the team over to Kyrie and allow him to play his way, which is 25 points, 5 assists, or are they going to play ball movement, player movement type of basketball? That's the frustration. So therefore, if I'm the Celtics and I bring him into office and I don't like what's said in the conversation, I'm looking to move him.
That's a panic move.
Which I'm glad you said that.
That ain't a panic move because I have assets. I'm the Boston Celtics. I can have 4 first-round picks this season, and I have great young players.
Get for Kyrie right now.
Well,
there's no great trade for him right now that you'll be happy with.
We're going to tee Woj off of Paul. I don't even know what we're going to tee him up for, so go ahead and talk about that. Woj, are you still there? There he is.
This may not be about one conversation with Kyrie Irving because they've been talking, and he talks with Danny Ainge, and it's been an ongoing conversation, and this wasn't news to them that he's frustrated. And so I do think the lines of communication with management, with ownership, they're wide open with Kyrie Irving in this organization.
Okay, so that's a plus because we're starting to make it seem like it's adversarial. But I want to go about 3 hours south and west of this because as of yesterday around lunchtime, the Celtics' opponent tonight, the Knicks, they were going to enter the summer with a top draft pick, a max level salary available, and a unicorn. But today, that Porzingis is now a Dallas Maverick. The Knicks will enter the summer with Dennis Smith Jr., a top draft pick, and enough cap room to drive 2 trucks full of money through. This just sort of got people out of nowhere a little bit. And Jalen, I'll start with you. Who won?
Congratulations, New York Knickerbockers. They're relevant again. And it's been baffling to me to see so many people feel like the New York Knicks got fleeced. They won. Okay, for those who haven't been paying attention, Dennis Smith Jr. can play basketball in himself, just him. He can ball. They have their lottery pick this year, which could be the #1 overall pick. They got 2 first-round picks. Did you say they get 2 max spots?
Yeah, it's
two max spots?
Yeah.
Okay. You cannot tell me, Michael Wilbon, that 2 of those guys ain't going to end up in New York. And for those that feel it's a failure if you don't get KD, the last time I checked, if you're a great player in the East, you can lead your team to the playoffs. The Knicks need a face of franchise, an all-star level player, and that list right there is going to be one of the guys in New York.
Jalen, I agree with you.
Well, even if they get, what's the success? What they can be happy for if they get one of these guys? They get Chris Middleton, they're happy. They're happy.
They can go bigger game hunting probably than Chris Middleton. But, Paul, here's the thing. This is where I agree with Jalen. One, they've created some flexibility. The Knicks never have flexibility. So let's say they don't get through free agency exactly who they want. KD, Kyrie, KD, Boogie. They can make trades, which they have not been able to do successfully because they don't, again, have flexibility. And I think trades, draft, there are 3 ways to acquire players. And then the Knicks' old culture, which was failed, they just threw bad money after bad money, and this is what the new regime is not doing now or not planning to do anyway.
I know it all sounds good, but the New York has not been a great free agent destination. I mean, think about this. Who has been the last great free agent? Amari Stoudemire. They traded for Carmelo Anthony, so it's not like it's a big market thing. They struck out on LeBron. The last time they was in this position, they struck out on LeBron. So it's no guarantee just because they free up the space and do all this that they're going to get that player they want. Because to me, even if you get 2 of these free agents out there, if you get Kyrie and a Middleton, to me, you still struck out.
No, you didn't.
No,
because what are you aiming for?
I'm going to tell you what they're
aiming for the Knicks.
I'm going to tell you what they're
just to be in the playoffs?
The Knicks ain't in the playoffs this year, and they don't have all-star level players on their team. Kristaps Porzingis
You strike out because you signed them 2 guys to max?
Well, but Paul, remember, they could also draft, let's not even say first. They have their own lottery. They have their own pick, which we know is in the lottery. Right. Even if they draft 2nd or 3rd, you're talking about a massive upgrade from where the Knicks are now. Are they in serious contention? No, you're right about that. But, we can't go all or nothing. The Knicks need to make a middle stop, perhaps. But Kevin Durant, if you listen to the buzz right now.
Exactly.
Right now, not just on the East Coast, but I've been talking to club executives all week and agents, and I'm shocked by the number of people. And again, it's way early. Pump the brakes a little bit. But I'm shocked, Paul, by the number of people who think that Kevin Durant is in play for the New York Knicks.
Does that change your mind?
This is one big gamble. This is one big gamble. That's all. You putting all your eggs on landing one of these guys. You have a guy who you can build around. You got to Kristaps Porzingis.
He didn't want to be there.
He didn't want to be there.
And that goes to show you right there who wants to be in New York then.
Okay, wait, hold on.
If he don't want to be in New York, why would these guys want to be in New York?
He's been unhappy in New York from the beginning. With a different
But they just got a new coach.
If you're the Knicks, you can't give him a max contract this offseason coming off a knee injury. And Kristaps Porzingis is a terrific talent. He's going to be amazing with Luka Doncic in Dallas. However, in New York City, he wasn't an all-star. He didn't lead them to the playoffs.
He wasn't even supporting his teammates lately. They wonder why he wasn't at practice, why he wasn't
It's all
around the
one
team,
big question
on the
mark.
bench.
It's a big gamble.
Life is a big question and a gamble.
I mean,
Paul.
the Clippers,
But you know it's not.
Nets, Clippers,
Sunday.
Nets.
ABC NBA Sunday Showcase Game of the Week returns special 2 Eastern. Kyrie and the Celtics hosting Russell Westbrook and the Thunder. Our coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 1:30 Eastern, and as always, you can watch everything on the app. Terry Rozier, here we go.
Like,
Loaded
Trey
with talent. What? I mean, it is.
That's what he's listening to right now.
Day.
The song is saying, "Trey Kyrie, I got this."
What must they be thinking? Coming up, Anthony Davis thought talking about a trade request wouldn't get in the media. That's all we've been talking about. Woj will be back next.
Begin the show with the Brow talking for the first time since this trade request as we're inside a week of that trade deadline. The Lakers, the clock is ticking against them. First, let's go back to Monday. Davis's agent, Rich Paul, informed the Pelicans that the All-Star center has no intention of signing a long-term contract and wants a trade. The very next day, Davis was fined $50,000 by the league for violating a CBA rule prohibiting players or their reps from making public trade demands. Then, prior to the Pelicans game on Wednesday against the Nuggets, Davis was removed from the team's pregame hype video. A league source telling ESPN that his removal from the video was to prevent negativity, a.k.a. booing. Yesterday, Davis was named the Western Conference All-Star Reserve. Although it's unclear if the Brow will take part, he has missed the last 6 games with a sprained index finger. And then today, speaking out for the very first time publicly since that trade request, the 6-time All-Star had this to say.
I feel like it's my time. I gave the city, organization, fans, everything I feel like I could. You don't know how long you're going to play this game, and I feel like I'm in my prime right now. I'm playing at an elite level, and, I want to make sure that I take advantage of that. People's careers are short, and I feel like it's my time to move on.
Was there an ultimatum issued about wanting to go to the Lakers?
No, I never gave me or my representation never gave Pelicans, a destination or anything, so I'm not sure where it's coming from.
When and why did this organization not give you the confidence that you could win a championship here, that you could win at a high level, like you said, that's the reason that you wanted to leave?
Like I said, I just feel like it's my time, and it's just as simple as that. Thinking about my career and, my future, your legacy, or my legacy, and doing what's best for me.
How much does legacy matter to you?
A ton. I've had that question before, legacy over money, and I'm all about legacy. The money comes and goes. When I get done playing or leave this earth, what is my legacy going to be? My intentions is to play. I've been working to get my finger back healthy. Obviously, it's a tough situation, but my intention is to still play. And when I'm able to play, I plan on suiting up.
When you switched representation, was this something that you thought you were already leaning toward with your next contract?
No.
Great to have Woj with us. You broke this story. You've been in front of it the entire week. Outside the Lakers, how are executives approaching this possibility that Davis could be a one-year rental?
Well, this is a game of leverage right now, and what Anthony Davis and his representation want to do is push a deal toward the Lakers. They have until Thursday's trade deadline to do that. And what you're trying to do is get the rest of the NBA to back off, not make significant offers, and allow the Lakers to come in and have the best possible offer and get New Orleans to do that deal. Now, New Orleans has seen nothing yet that would make them think they want to do any deal before the trade deadline. They still see this as a long play into the summer.
Yeah, so you're pushing the Pelicans in a box here with this deadline approaching because you want one team. So how are the Pelicans approaching this week and the idea that they don't trade Davis, they hold him for the rest of the season?
They went through this with Chris Paul as an organization several years ago, and they've gone back and they look at the deal they did then. And the one thing they know is it's better to do no deal than a deal you don't feel good about. And remember, the Saints, are at the head of this ownership group. Mickey Loomis works along with, he runs the Saints, and he works with Dell Demps, their GM in basketball. And, there's a mentality there of just not catering or giving in, especially. That's a little bit more of an NFL sensibility. And so right now in New Orleans, they need to be blown away by an offer because they have time on their side. He's under contract for next season. And most of all, they'd like to get the Celtics into the bidding in this process, and they can't do that till after the season as long as Kyrie Irving is still in Boston.
All right, we'll see how this plays. Woj, hang tight right now. We'll get your thoughts on the other big NBA story. That is Kyrie's future in Boston.
I appreciate that scout I joined in, but I shared it with some of my teammates as well as the organization and everyone else in Boston. If you guys will have me back, I plan on re-signing here next year.
Whoa! That was what Kyrie said almost exactly 4 months ago, but things seem to have changed. Let us review. The #1 overall pick in 2011 is having arguably the best season of his career, averaging career highs in field goal percentage, three-point percentage, and assists per game, all while scoring nearly 24 points per contest. However, his team as a whole has not lived up to expectations this season. Very streaky, very inconsistent. They're still tied with Toronto with the best odds to win the Eastern Conference, but they're currently in 5th place in the East, 5.5 games back of the Milwaukee Bucks. Further complicating things, the Celtics are still trying to find a way to trade for Anthony Davis around draft time and then re-sign Kyrie. But they might miss out on Davis altogether, with Kyrie's future now even more uncertain, especially after what he said today. Listen.
Well, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I feel is best for my career. And, that's just where it stands. And my focus this season is winning the championship with the Boston Celtics. Obviously we had goals coming into the season, and primary goal is to win championship. So that's where my focus is.
Has your mindset shifted, though, in regards to re-signing with Boston, like the announcement?
Ask me July 1st. This has become like an entertainment thing for everybody. So, somebody else is asking for a trade, and I'm thrown into that, and uncertainty comes back on me. And, at the end of the day, I don't live in this little hub that, everything, some people call me about this, this dumb, of course my name gets to keep thrown on in this. I'm not worried about a reputation, I'm not worried about a legacy to leave. I'm just trying to be a human being, trying to make the best decision for me and my family. So, obviously, things this season haven't gone as I planned. And that's part of being on a team where you're still trying to figure things out. So, I'm always going to be mature about that, professional, come to do my job every single day, and really just see what happens. That's what it really comes down to. I spent the last 8 years trying to do what everybody else wanted me to do in terms of making my decisions and trying to validate through the media, through other personnel, managers, anybody in this business, and I don't owe anybody. So I still have confidence in Boston and what they can promise for the future and what we have in terms of our pieces. And that's what excited me a lot about the beginning of the season, was the opportunity to, come into this season really just doing what we planned on doing, set a goal and go after it, and then see what happens at the end of the season. So that was the plan before, and that's still the plan now. Obviously Boston's still at the head of that race, and that's just where it stands.
All right, Roj, so we have gone from Kyrie telling everybody that he wants to re-sign with the Celtics to what he said right there, being completely non-committal. What changed?
Well, the struggles of this team, this was a team that had an expectation that they would be chasing an Eastern Conference championship, that they could compete with the Warriors in the NBA Finals, and they've underachieved, and they're still trying to figure out how the pieces fit there. Kyrie Irving has been working through what it means to be the leader of a team and have his own team. And, some of the frustrations that he expressed today and what he's going through, these are conversations he has with the organization. They know that he's been frustrated, and they're frustrated with a lot of what has gone on this year. But, there's no question. This was jarring for people who really haven't heard him talk publicly about his future in Boston since the night in the preseason where he got up in front of an arena and said he was staying, and then a commercial where he talks about wanting to get his number retired in Boston.
Yeah, it's really hard to track. I mean, so we will. Ask me July 1st, we will. That's the date he can declare for free agency. But, Woj, if they can find a way to bring Anthony Davis to Boston, how much does that affect Kyrie's decision?
Well, the organization believes it's almost an imperative that I think they have a lot of confidence that if they get Anthony Davis, that they will be able to secure Kyrie Irving and then work then they have Anthony Davis under contract for next season, and then they go forward together. But what the worst case scenario for the Celtics right now, and certainly what gives them cause for concern, is if this team underachieves, if it doesn't make the run in the playoffs that they all expected, and then all of a sudden Anthony Davis either gets traded somewhere else before the deadline or stays in New Orleans and they don't get a deal for him, that would cause concern in Boston. But there's still confidence there that regardless of what Anthony Davis is saying privately, the idea that he only would re-sign with L.A., Boston still likes their chances if they get him on the roster to convincing him to stay with Kyrie Irving going forward.
A year and a half after asking Cleveland to trade him, then going to Boston, Kyrie Irving's future once again up in the air. Woj, thanks for the latest on this story.
Thanks, Sam.
Kyrie Irving and the Boston Celtics in New York City tonight. There he is arriving. He's missed 3 of his last 4 games with a left hip strain, but when he has played in January, he has been excellent, averaging almost 26 points per game. And 8 assists this month. Not bad. Boston at New York, 7:30 Eastern time here on ESPN.